So this week I woke up from to a message from a tenant like, hey, like, can we do something about like the front door? Like, cause this isn't a 4-unit building. It was like, there's this homeless man that keeps coming like in, and sometimes he even goes into like the downstairs apartment. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Welcome back to another installment of This Week in Real Estate, where I recap my week as a self-managing landlord of 20 plus units and a fix and flip investor. This week, we're going to be talking about plumbing and Mercury retrograde. Got a quick tenant tales, involving the homeless man, direct seller, direct mail, and a direct seller, and a Buckrow Beach House update, as well as a Suffolk duplex update. Jumping into it, I don't know like what it is, but I'm almost sure there's something going on with like Mercury retrograde and plumbing issues. I don't really know what Mercury retrograde means. I just see people talking about it. But I'm gonna blame it for all the plumbing issues that I've had recently. Like this month, I've had more plumbing issues than I feel like I've ever had in one single month. And it's like silly stuff, like a backed up sink, a leaking toilet, like just little stuff. And I'm like, why? But I've been able to get through all of them. No major like property damage or anything like that. So happy about that aspect. But I am blaming Mercury retrograde for all of the issues. And then, I got tenant tales. Okay, so I haven't done a tenant tales in a very long time. But this one's pretty good. So I've talked about this before, but a lot of times I wake up to like messages and like stuff because I invest in Virginia and I live in California. So I'm 3 hours behind of like everyone I deal with business wise and my tenants. So this week I woke up from to a message from a tenant like, hey, like, can we do something about like the front door? Like, cause this isn't a 4-unit building. It was like, there's this homeless man that keeps coming like in, and sometimes he even goes into like the downstairs apartment. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. The downstairs tenant hasn't said anything to me, but the downstairs tenant had reached out like, yo, can we like do something about like the lock on his unit door? And I was like, yeah, cool, like, yeah. So I was like, oh, maybe that's why he reached out to me, because like there's a homeless man that goes into his unit. So I'm like, all right, like I'll look into it. I can't really do too much like about the homeless man. And then a couple hours later, he hits me up like, yo, the homeless man is here right now. He's in that unit right now. And I was like, oh crap. Okay. Like, and so I call the police, and the police go out. And so the police end up calling me. And I have a business numbers that I deal with like all the stuff, but I gave the police my personal number, and anyone that calls me on my personal number from that area code is usually someone that is trying to buy one of my houses. So I got the call from the police and I just ignored it. And then they called again, and I was like, let me answer this. And it's the police. They're like, hey, we got a call about like a homeless man, and we're out here now, and the guy says that he's on the lease. And I was like, what's his name? And they give me the tenant's name, and I was like, yeah, he's on the lease. That's his unit. So I was like, all right, like, yeah, that's him. So I was like, dang, maybe he's not a homeless guy. And so the guy upstairs like checks him again, like, yo, like, what happened? And I was like, oh yeah, like they said it was him. He was like, nah, man, like I've seen that dude like walking the streets. Like, I don't think it's him. So I was like, you know what? I didn't verify with the tenant. So I call the tenant that's in that unit, like, hey, and he answers like, hey, he's like, yeah, there seems to be like some like mix up. He was like, I'm like, it's me. Like, they probably didn't notice me. Like, I've grown out a beard, and like, I don't know. Like, but all in all, the tenant upstairs, which is he's newer and since he's been in, he's been like in and out traveling. But he thought the guy that lived in the building or lives in the building was a homeless man that was coming in the building and going into that unit. So the good thing is we have the building kind of like looking out, right? Like no crazy stuff is gonna happen without someone reaching out and hitting me up about it. But it was so interesting that one of the neighbors thought it was a homeless man going into the unit. I also had a seller reach out to me. So probably like months ago, probably 3 or 4 months ago, I did some direct mail. So direct mail is just sending mailers to property owners. I just saying like, hey, I'm interested in buying your property if you're interested in selling it. And I got a call on Friday, and the guy's like, hey, like, I've been out of your letter, and I called you because, we're thinking about selling, and he said, and you said blank in your note, so I wanted to give you a call. And so one, I thought it was really cool that like direct mail still works, and the thing that I put in my letter that made him call, it's something that like I thought of that would be cool, and that's actually what made him call me. So I think that's really cool. I love thinking of like different stuff, and for it to pay off and work, it was really cool. And he's not the first person to call me from those mailers. I've had just like, oh, I'm not interested, or tire kicker type calls, but this guy is like actually interested in selling, and a little something creatively I put in the note is what made him call. This deal is actually interesting. The property he has is interesting. He wants to sell it, but he has it on like an seller finance terms right now. So the person living there has the rights to buy the property and for another like 16 months. So if they wanted to, they could buy it, and at the price he wants to sell it for, I would still make money if they bought it at that price. And if they don't want to buy it, then I can renovate it and still make a profit. So he's actually reasonable in what he's asking for it. It's interesting because I would have to buy it and kind of wait this person out as far as like what they want to do. And since they've been in there a while, their rent is super low. So it makes the numbers on the deal really, really weird. But I think it can work. So I am going to give him a call back this week and see if I can make something work with him on this property or that property. It'd be really cool. I haven't done a direct seller lead in a really long time. So we'll see what happens. The Buckrow Beach House. This one, so we had an inspection. We passed our HVAC inspection. Our next inspection was framing. And what we're doing upstairs in that house is we rearranged the bathroom. And part of our rearrangement, the inspector for our building permit was like, you don't have enough ceiling clearance for the shower. And this piece of wood, it may be okay, but I want a structural engineer to kind of sign off on it. And my contractor was like, well, the ceiling clearance, we should be grandfathered in. Like, we didn't do anything different. Like, this was here. And he was like, and this piece of wood, like, we could bulk it up if you want to, like, just be short. And he was like, no, get an engineer out. So now we have to come up with a solution to get about 6 inches extra of ceiling height in the bathroom in one area, not even like the whole bathroom, like one area. And we have to have an engineer come out and sign off on basically the structure integrity of this section of the house. So just when I thought we had got to a point where we could like just roll and like finish it, we are again slow going because we have this inspector. So this is what's the frustrating part about inspectors is they have the ability to just pass stuff or make you do a whole bunch of work. Like this inspector's like, yeah, you should be grandfathered in. So he literally could just be like, yeah, grandfathered, sign off on it. But he didn't do that. So now I got to do extra work and spend extra money. And he also could have been like, yeah, this is cool. Like it's to code. But he didn't do that. It's really frustrating because it's like, if you just lay out the rules and let me follow the rules, we pass every time. But inspectors kind of like, that's the rule, but nah, not really. And you can't fight them because you have to get the sign off on the permit and they control the sign off. So that's what's going on with the Buckrow Beach House. Still very excited about the project. It's just a little frustrating stuff. And the Suffolk Duplex, that one is coming along. We are doing our work there. The work that we thought we were going to do last week, we didn't get to, but it is scheduled for this upcoming week. So we should be going there and get that property renovated, finished, rented very quickly. But yeah, that was This Week in Real Estate. As always, if you have any comments or questions, just reach out, leave a comment. Happy to talk about anything more that I mentioned. And until next week, that was This Week in Real Estate.